What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So things are finally getting a little bit closer. We got good news on some Russia-Ukraine talks, so that's great there. Gas prices are slowly starting to come down. That's getting better. Today we're going to have the Federal Reserve release their meeting minutes. Jerome Powell will likely talk, answer some questions. This will be a good day. So today I do have a stimulus update for you. Going to talk about gas prices. They're lowering retail spending, which some say is bad and could lead to a recession. So I want to address what's going on there. And obviously we got the rate hikes. So we got a lot of stuff to discuss. So let's get right into it. Now, we have a big day, okay? And a lot of people think that, today isn't going to be that big because, well, we know rate hikes were coming. And the Federal Reserve, they're going to most likely come out and give us our expected quarter-point rate hike. We also got February's retail sales numbers. They came in lower than expected, which isn't a problem, but what could be a problem if they are consistently lower than expected. Now, gas prices are still coming down, and this is great news. Experts believe that we could see a significant drop in gas prices within the next couple of weeks, which would be great. We also know that the Ukrainian President Zelensky says that Russia's negotiations are becoming more realistic, which is very optimistic that a resolution could be had sometime soon. We know mortgages here in the United States, they have fallen by 8% since just 1 year ago today. So that is interesting because, well, there's still a lot of people looking for homes. The problem is there's not a lot of supply and rates are actually going up. We know Republicans are actually really reluctant on passing any additional aid for COVID, but this additional $15.6 billion looks like it could be sitting here for some time. And times right now, really in these uncertain times, lawmakers are pressing President Biden to provide more relief to the American people, but our economy in general. Because right now, here's what the expectation is. And again, I know a lot of people are questioning, well, what should we do? Should we buy a home? Should I buy a car? Should I buy an electric vehicle? Should I put gas in my car today or wait a week? Right? Should I save money? Should I invest my money? Should I buy a house? Should I pay off debt? Bunch of questions. Okay? So let's break down what is actually happening because, again, I get a lot of questions every single day. These are just some of the questions. The things I'm talking about in this video are just some of the things that I got questioned on yesterday. Okay? So right now the expectation is gas prices are going to start coming down. And if gas prices come down, you need to make, that decision. Do I, continue to put gas in my car or do I wait a little bit because gas will get cheaper? Right? Or, and this could happen, gas prices could actually go back up. And many people say, when gas prices finally level off, will they stay that way or will they go back up or will they come back down? Again, a lot of questions. And it's because of all these additional questions that lawmakers are urging President Biden to provide more relief to the American people. And remember, and I've been saying this for months, okay, that Democrats have to pass something for the American people. Because if they don't, they risk voters voting for the other side. So expect something. And I don't know what it's going to be, but expect something. Because according to lawmakers, they are urging President Biden to push for multiple things. Medicare for all is coming back. That is coming back because what we are seeing is Democrats are saying that, and again, I didn't pull a whole lot of reports on this, but Democrats and specifically progressives are saying that the American people are spending so much money on medications and hospital visits and doctor visits, right? And so what they're saying is if we did Medicare for all, when we provided this relief, well, that brings all that money that people are spending, they can take that and push it towards something else. And so that's one of the things that's coming back. The increased child tax credit payments, that is coming back. There's still many Republicans that support that idea, but most Democrats say this is something that we absolutely need to have. Here's the issue. This additional stimulus would be great for the party that's in control, which is Democrats. So do you think Republicans really want to pass something that's going to benefit Democrats? No, they're not going to want to do that. So at this time, even though a lot of people are discussing this, unless all 50 Senate Democrats get on board with this, which they're not right now, then this is not going to pass. We also know student debt forgiveness is high on this list. That if we can give people that have debt, student debt, we can give them this roughly your average about $450 in relief every single month. Why wouldn't we do that? Because Democrats are saying we have seen that the United States is still flourishing. Our economy is still doing great, even though these debt holders have not made a payment in 2 years. So it's interesting where the discussions are going there. There's also paid family medical leave that's still being discussed, universal pre-K, and improved climate policies. Okay, these are some of the things that are still being asked from President Biden. Now, we know stimulus checks are going to be a tough sell. It's going to be very tough to get these passed at this time, but other relief is going to take away some of those expenses. And that's what Democrats are saying. Let's take away the expenses, in other places. And that money can be spent elsewhere. It could be in the economy, right? It could be saved. It could be invested. A lot of options. Now, we know just from the other day that Senator Joe Manchin, he's actually opposing some of the parts of President Biden's climate bill. And he had this to say, and I quote, "I'm very reluctant to go down the path of electric vehicles. I'm old enough to remember standing in line in 1974 trying to buy gas. I remember those days. I don't want to have to be standing in line waiting for a battery for my vehicle because we're now dependent on a foreign supply chain, mostly China." So here's the issue. We go from fuel, which we're dependent on other countries, well, some other countries as well, but this is also something that we produce here in the United States, right? But that's the issue is, do we have any local battery manufacturers, or are we pretty much going to be dependent on the foreign supply chain like China? And that's the issue is, where do we go? And this is a common question that Americans have is, what would happen if we get rid of all gas-powered cars and moved 100% reliant on EVs and electric vehicles? Would this make us more reliant on another country like China? And the answer right now is yes. And this is why some lawmakers are pushing to be more self-reliant as a country. But we can't do that if we go all EV. It has to be a mix. So, with the rise of gas prices actually slowing down, a lot of people are bringing this question up. Should I move towards an electric vehicle, or should I stay with my gas-powered car that I have now? Well, I'm not going to answer that for you, but this is a good time to evaluate where we are currently at. And right now, some of the price increases have been due to geopolitical reasons, but the talks must continue because we are likely headed towards more battery power vehicles and less gas-powered cars. So just keep that in mind. Right now, that's pretty much where we're headed. But again, you got to make that decision on your own. And while we see gas prices rise, we are also seeing retail spending slow down. Again, it's slowing down. It's not decreasing. It's slowing down. Because just in February, we saw that our advanced retail sales grew by 0.3%. The expectation was 0.4%. So even though we didn't hit expectations, we still grew, which is still good news. Now, when you take out auto sales, then we only grew by 0.2%. And again, this is well below our expectation of 0.9%. Okay? Even online shopping was down by 3.7%, and these are big changes. Because right now the worry is that gas prices have actually caused consumers to have less money to spend on everything else. And many economists believe that we could be in the start of the recession. But keep in mind, we won't know if we're in a recession until months after we are already in it. Because a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of low or negative GDP. Okay? So that's what is very scary is we're in a time of high uncertainty. And in times of high uncertainty, what most financial experts say is don't spend money. Don't waste money. Don't buy any high ticket items. Don't buy homes and cars and vacations. Save, pay off debt, pay off credit card debt for sure, especially when we are going to see rising interest rates. So it's not just gas prices, though, that are impacting consumer spending on retail goods. Gas prices are also impacting spending on mortgages as well, because what we know is mortgages are down also. And we have seen mortgage rates fall 8%, okay? Or mortgage applications fall 8% since last year alone. We have also seen the 30-year fixed rate mortgages increase to 4.27%, which is actually lowering the purchasing power of home buyers. And the Federal Reserve today, well, they're expected to raise rates today by a quarter point. And this is only going to get worse. We know what's going to happen is the American people are going to have less buying power. Well, as the supply of homes stays the same, but demand is going up, or even the supply comes down, right? Supply isn't getting better. The supply of homes available on the market is staying the same. Demand is still increased. But what's going to happen is, as purchasing power gets reduced because of the interest rates, guess what? That supply of homes, if you want to sell your home, you'll most likely have to lower your price. Well, if we see too many homes come on the market, there's too much supply, not enough demand, and a decreased purchasing power, guess what? Home prices start to fall. So, be interesting to see what happens. I do not expect we will see anything like we saw in 2008, but just keep in mind, it could happen. We just don't know. And speaking of getting worse, many health experts are saying that we are not out of the woods yet when it comes to the pandemic and COVID cases. They say we still need to be vigilant of what could come, and they are urging Congress to come together and get additional COVID funding ready in the event of another COVID variant. But at this time, Republicans are very reluctant on a lot of things. But the main thing right now is passing the additional $15.6 billion for the White House to spend on COVID. And they say the reason why is because they want answers. Where did the money go before? Where has all this money gone? And when they are given answers as to where the money has actually gone to, they're not satisfied with those answers. So they're going to hold up the $15.6 billion for additional COVID funding. And right now, without additional COVID aid, the White House states that it will actually cause more inaction for delivering tests, delivering therapeutics, and delivering vaccines. So not great news. But in more optimistic news regarding Russia and Ukraine, Ukraine states that the negotiations are becoming more realistic with Russia. That's great news. The Kremlin says that a neutral Ukraine with an army could be the compromise. The two sides do plan on having more discussions today as shelling continues across Ukraine, but the expectation is talks are progressing, and many believe we could be within 1 to 2 weeks away from some kind of peace deal. So again, we are going to see this invasion or war end soon. Some say it's going to end within the next week to 2 weeks. Others believe that if Russia continues to push on, they're going to run out of resources by May, which means we're going to get out of this one way or another. Whether Russia gets something or they don't, we have no idea. So, as we know more about what's going on there, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.